There we go. Okay. I am going to give it another minute before we get started, but I promise you I did not want to forget to record it. So we'll just give it one more minute for others to jump on, and then I'll jump right in as well. So thank you for getting in here and joining our conversation. I'm excited to have one of my favorite people in all of the world on and have the opportunity to have this conversation with her. So, but before we do that, I'll share a little bit about who Empowered by DS is, and send a reminder out. And we'll be recording this, but let me send a quick text. And we'll get this party started. All right. Go ahead and get the preliminary stuff out of the way. All right. Well, let's get started. Great evening. I am the dynamic, daring, one of a kind diva Denise Silas. I'm excited to come to you yet again with our Let's Talk About It Tuesday. But before we get started, we always like to introduce who Empowered by DS is as we bring this and why we do this. So Let's Talk About It Tuesday is our opportunity to share with women just different topics that may be important to them, that can make a difference for them. Our whole mission in Empowered by DS is to help women to be the best version of themselves in their current season, helping them to get from where they are to where they really want to be, just being able to help empower them in all aspects of their life. So in their faith, their family and relationships, their fitness and wellness, and their fun, and it's one more. Faith, family, fun, finances. Yes, thank you, Sinitra. Yes, in their finances as well, in their career development, so in their professionalism. So we are excited. So we do this in several different ways. We have what we call our signature events, and those you're on one of them, the Let's Talk About It Tuesday. But we also host what's called Divas Dinner and Dialogue. Through that, we do through conversation, creating dialogue to help women to create connections and community so they can collaborate together as well. Then we do an empowerment workshop series that we do. We actually are hosting a virtual one. So even if you're not local to me, you may want to participate with that. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. At the beginning of the year, we always have a vision board party. And then at the end of the year, we do a vision to victory. So the virtual workshop is going to be a mid-year thing to tie those two together. We also hosted our very first one day away retreat. So we do retreats as well. And then in September, please put that on your calendar. In September, we are hosting our 15th event, Feel the Till in Your Hottest Hill, in memory of my sister for ovarian cancer awareness. And I forgot the most important piece, the Empowered by DS, myself and my two daughters that we have built this business and we work together with it. Also, we have a couple other things that we do as well. So we have our Facebook community called Decide Tribe. Decide stands for Divas Empowering and Connecting Individuals Who Dare to Excel. So we just want to create a positive space for women. And then we host a empowerment subscription box. So we do that once a quarter, the one that will be actually shipping out this week. And the theme for it is protect your peace. So through that subscription boxes, our whole goal is to just to empower women to be able to take time for themselves, to focus on things that's important to them. It has a journal in it, a very small, intimate journal for the purpose of them only focusing on the things that they want for 12 weeks. So we're excited about that. This would be our 5th edition. I think our 5th one. So I'm excited about that. And then We do a leadership devotional every year. I select one. Last year we did 100 Days of Believing Bigger. Right now we're going through the 21 Most Powerful Minutes of the Leader's Day, helping to develop the leader within us as well. And then we do a fitness challenge. I do group coaching, group training, and one-on-one coaching as well. So those are a little bit things about what we offer. So upcoming, what's coming up? So on July 21st, we're having a virtual event. So it's to kind of have us do a self-check to see if you're on target for your goals for the year. So if right now we seem to be experiencing a little bit challenges with our texting system, but I'll also get the information out to you if you're interested. But it's the whole purpose of really taking a look at what do you say that you wanted to do, recapping what you have done, reviewing that, seeing what you can do, continue to do well, what you need to tweak to regroup and to recharge. So I'm excited about doing that. So instead of us doing our in-person breakfast, we're going to be doing this virtually, and it's a free event. Then on August 1st, we are having our Divas Dinner and Dialogue event. That is, we alternate our empowerment workshops with we alternate our dialogue events with our activities. So we're backed by popular demand. We're doing it another boots on the ground event. And what that is really is helping for women's social self-care, helping women to get out in a positive space and have a good time with other women. Save the date for 2 events. September 12th, I partnered with James Gym locally, and we're going to have a Dance Fit Fest for to raise money for ovarian cancer. So they're going to donate 100% of the money that's raised for that. So I'm excited about that partnership. And then we're also going to have our annual Feel the Till in Your Hottest Heels. And we'll start September 1 raising money, and you're able to participate. You get raffle tickets for that, and you don't have to be local. And those funds help to find a cure for cancer. And we support 3 different organizations, the Mary Kay Charitable Foundation, the Ovarian Cancer Research Foundation, as well as the Soda Hope as well. So those are the 3 areas that we do. Next month, this is our lineup for next month. So we try to have just a variety of diverse topics. So we just had last week I think it was last week, where we're talking about getting mortgage ready. I believe it was last week. And so we'll have someone come back. Now you're getting mortgage ready, and how do you find your right home? So she's going to give general information about that. We'll be talking about beating burnout. A lot of times women, we're doing so many different things. And then one of my favorites I'm really excited about is when love hurts. When you're in relationships, how do you get over betrayal? Whether it's infidelity, whether it is adultery. Did I say that right? When he been cheating, how about that? Cheating in different ways. I was thinking I made it wrong. I was thinking infertility, but it's infidelity. I was right. But just talking about how you bounce back from when you felt that you've been hurt, you've been betrayed in a relationship, and then the courage to change careers. Sometimes we get stuck and we don't move forward because we have fears in doing something different. So that's our variety. And then at the end of the month, we'll end up with the other daughter, and she's going to talk about coming from college and going into her career, just from a younger perspective. So I hope you guys will share that with any students that you know that be finishing college. So visit our website, Empowered by DS. That is going to give you all things that we do, the ways to get in contact with us. Follow us in all the social media platforms that Empowered by DS is the cross everything. You'll find us cross everything. And please share with other people that you think can benefit from what we are offering. Just trying to create a positive, healthy community for women. So I always feel like I'm just rambling out, but I'm excited. To introduce you guys to my youngest, Amonie. And I, of course, a very proud mom, but as we have been working together and just understanding kind of what she came from in her senior year, and then how she progressed she definitely thrived and did very well through her college career. I thought this conversation could be great for other moms just to see how they can support their whether they are getting ready to have a senior in high school or have a high school student all the way to getting them through college. So introducing all the way from Columbus, Mississippi, my daughter Amonie. So let me bring her up to the stage.
Yeah. What's my little description?
What'd you say?
What's my description? You know, when we talk about the
Oh my
people.
gosh, oh my gosh.
Oh, where's
And
my introduction? That's what it
yes,
is.
yes, you're
Yeah.
yes, and I'm sorry, I totally forgot the most important thing. She is our director of beautification for Empowered by Jazz. So she takes my all my wild ideas and make them look like something. So yes. So let me get spotlight for everyone. I'm gonna bring myself up so we can be looking at each other. Add to the spotlight. Okay. So I'm excited to really have you on for various reasons because one of the things I do know for sure that it was not a like you didn't just walk in, finish school, and you got done. There was several different things. So one of the first things I want you to start off, kind of set the stage for them. Let's talk a little bit about your high school, right? So where were you as far as because of the time that you went through high school, that last year was significant because of what everybody was going through in the pandemic, right? So tell us a little bit just about that, your last year, getting ready to go into college. What were your thought process and some of the things that you experienced?
Okay. If you didn't know, my last year fell when COVID, it had kicked off in that March. So I'm coming up as a senior. We're going to school, we're wearing masks and everything. And it was different, of course, because of the restrictions, but like before then, like I only went on one like college tour. I was thinking about college, but I was like, with how the world was going, like, should I go far or if something's gonna happen, should I stay local and all that? But no, like, come January, it did start to settle down. And I was starting to think more about college and what do I want for myself? Do I want to play in college? I want to go to a big school and I don't know, just talk with my parents and like just going over my options to help me kind of get a clearer picture in a way.
Because it was 20, you graduated in 2021, right?
Hmm.
So I can get a feel for it. So 2021, when I was with Alea, when Alea went through school, we went to several colleges, right? We were able to go around and we visited a lot of colleges. But because of that season, it was limited. She's a volleyball player, so very active in volleyball, still playing volleyball that last year. And then at the end of the year, what happens?
Uh,
We
I wish I'd have blanked out this detail, but so I graduated in May. In April, I tore my ACL. So like I was basically limping across the stage, and I didn't have surgery for that until like June, I think. But yeah, that was pretty traumatic for me because I had like up till then like I had sprained my ankles and did stuff like that, but like I had never had a serious injury. And if you've never had one, you think this won't happen to me, but like as you can see, it happened.
right. So not only you're going to school, but you're going to school with a major injury and have to figure that out. But let's go back. Let's still go back a little bit still. So how did you decide what school that you were going to? Because I know you said you're going back and forth trying to figure out, with everything that was going on. Did you go away? Did you stay? So let's talk about that, the choice of the school that you went to. So what made you decide to go to Columbus?
So, my senior year for volleyball wise, I had a very great season. And just off the high of that, I was like, I should try to go find somewhere to play. So, I had made me a long list of schools and I was just emailing coaches. And the coach for the W emailed me back. And that was probably the one school I did visit. And I went there and just, I really enjoyed the campus. And at the time, the coach, she just had a good vibe. And I was like, I would take a chance on this school. And I really didn't have any major that I wanted. I was going to just do business just because that was how my mind thought, and I was like, if I can't find anything else, I can make this work. So they had a decent business school, and that it just fell into place.
So one of the things that I would encourage, um, and I hate that we didn't get to do it as much, but we, I would say we almost lucky.
Yeah, don't let your kids do what I did.
Right, right.
You
So she
shouldn't go to
applied
one school.
for, she applied at one school. We went to one school, and honestly, we did not realize she had only applied to one school. Now, I do believe
Where do you think I applied to? That's she keeps trying to feed that narrative, y'all. Don't believe her. She
because
knew
I
where I
kept
applied.
um, going through the schools. Now, I did not, I know there's a lot of parents who would take on that role and start to do that. I didn't think that was my responsibility. Um,
Well, I was a COVID baby though. I wasn't thinking clearly.
okay.
I
So,
really blame it on that though.
yeah.
If COVID hadn't happened, I feel like I would have toured more schools.
Oh,
on
yeah,
my
you
side.
definitely went to tour more.
She would have forced me, kicking and
Exactly.
screaming.
Yeah, we would definitely have two or more schools. But with what we had, we did what we had. We went to the one school and it worked out
It
great.
worked out so good.
It worked out so good. So in making that decision though, one of the things that when you were thinking about going away or staying, what was your thoughts? What made you want to go? Even 2 hours is not when did y'all to schools? So when we toured for my first daughter, we started the year before. Like we
Hmm.
literally did it in um, junior year. We did not because by the time if you're going to tour schools, by the time you get to their senior year, you should already have some ideas because um, there's early application. You start to
Yeah.
look at because by the time you get to the spring, you should know what school you're going to for the most part. Have some general ideas because there's things that's already due as far as being able to be eligible for the early application, housing, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So I would say it's to start in your junior year. Don't wait till your senior year to start touring schools.
Hmm.
So that's a great question. That's a great question. Um, so in making a decision, because I often hear parents say that they don't want their child to go away. They want to keep them closer to home. So what made your decision? How do you feel that what made you get to the conclusion or having the security of being able to go away?
So originally, my dream school was way further. I think it was like a 6 to 7 hour drive. I wanted to go to Auburn, but like that was always my plan. I literally took Spanish classes because the rumor was you had to take a foreign language to go out of state. And just how I was raised and my upbringing, like I was prepared to go just because like we've lived far from our family, so just getting on the road to get back home would never have been an issue if I had my car. But I can say now looking back, like that's not for everybody. I've had a lot of like classmates in my years, like they went 30 minutes away from home and that was too much. So like when you're supporting your kid, you have to know your kid. My parents knew I can go far and I'll make it. My sister did it, I'll figure it out. But like the others, some people are not meant to go because if you're stressing more about being away, you won't have a good time. So like you have to find that happy balance, but like you should know your kid and your kid has to know themselves at the same time.
But when you say a lot of that was based on what had happened prior to you going to school, it was not
Oh yeah.
once you got to school, we realized you can be away. Well, you have been away from us
Oh yeah.
as well. So it's starting to let go of your children to an extent in high school. Don't wait till they become seniors and then you decide, okay, I need to figure out how to um, start to let go or being able to let them be comfortable without being around. Because your freshman year, you had people actually go back home, correct?
Yes, there were so many people, girls on the team. And like for me, I've never like even though I hadn't been away from my family, but like in my head, I was looking at these people get so homesick and I'm like, you can always go back home. I know like with us playing, you didn't always have the time, but like you will see your parents again, you'll see your family again. And I was able to kind of compartmentalize that type of like way of thinking, but a lot of people just can't overcome that. And like I said, that becomes a distraction now. You're missing home so much, you can't be academically there. You can't get the best grades. You can't focus on your studies at the same time.
But that's a good point. That's a good point. Um, okay, so we're at school, and so you figured out how to you're at the school now, the very beginning, and you had to not only deal with the ACL tear, but then now we have the second accident and we break our kneecap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I and I share this, you guys. I bring all this stuff up is because uh, having a child to have to learn how to navigate when things aren't working the way they expect it to work. So, how do you feel that you were supported in that season, or what do you think are some of the key things that help you get through that trying time of not only are you trying to figure out how to be a student, but you're trying to even figure out how to walk around to be a student?
When you say support, like supported by like you and dad or like just in general?
So, say with us as your parents, but then how did you find support as well? Because you were there by yourself, so you had to figure some things out. We could only do so much from home.
Mhm. Before like I get to you guys, I will always be grateful for my roommate that year and then my advisor. Because before I came home, like I came, we figured out I had to have surgery. That surgery recovery, like for me just to be able to walk around was going to be a month. So no matter what, I was coming home, staying for a month, wasn't like I couldn't physically be in class. And at that time, I had all in-person classes. But my roommate, she chauffeured me around because at first I didn't have my car. She literally, that day that I did it, she had picked me up from physical therapy. And then with my advisor, she just made me feel comfortable enough, like, just tell your professors, they will understand. If they don't, then we'll figure it out. But upon coming home, just with like my parents' support, I was miserable after that surgery. Like, I thought my ACL one was bad, but that one was just awful. I feel like I was in more pain and I couldn't like move as quickly as I could after the ACL. So like I just remember being in my room and like my mom would always bring me food and I'll convince her to get me some Chick-fil-A. And like it just became that just because when somebody's going through an injury like that, like you don't want to be in their face because you just, no matter how happy you are before, you're gonna hit a little turbulence. But just like from my parents' perspective, just come and check on me. Like, you need anything? Do you want to go take a shower? Do you want to get out the house real quick? Like, you have to keep pestering people because you don't want them to get in that dark hole.
Right. Um, so building one of the things from just what she was saying is encouraging your student to build relationships. Because if you had not, sometimes students can go to school and they'll just be to themselves, but it's important to build relationships because if you had not had the support of your roommate, that could have been a totally different
Yeah.
scenario, right? So it's important to encourage students to not isolate themselves. They're away
Hmm.
from home, figuring out how to make relationships. The good thing about you is you did have um, teammates, but it's still important to build those relationships for it. So anything else you want to share about just that being able that initial transition, the mental I always think because of how all the statistics were saying about the students coming out of COVID and being able to balance it, going from you went from online to all those in-person classes. Is there anything just that transition of um, being a high school student, just that piece of it, um, to be able to get more acclimated in the new environment? You have any tips on how parents could help their students do that?
I think the biggest thing, like you said, is to encourage your kid to like get out and go meet people. Like even though I was a COVID kid, like and we couldn't just we were walking around with masks all the time and stuff like that. But like if I didn't have people I could talk to, if I was going to class and just being just a spectator and not engaging with like my classmates, I would have gone crazy. Like college is what you make it, and it starts with the people you surround yourself with, and that just makes the experience way better.
Awesome. So let's ask this. what would you say are some of the what would you say was one of the biggest things you wish you would have changed in your college experience?
That's a good question. First thing I think off the bat, and this is very, it's irrelevant now, but like, I wish I would have double majored just because like I said, I went to college. I knew I was going to be in business, but I really didn't know. I started in marketing, but I took my first accounting class. If you didn't know, I graduated with my accounting degree, but I loved it. And I was like, "Ooh, I want to do this. I want to do this." College, there's so much time in your schedule, like how mine broke down. I had time to do both, but I let advisors say, how does this line up?" You don't need to know the plan, but like, if you can figure out how to wrap it up in your head, believe in yourself and go along with it. So that's the biggest thing I would have changed, but like, what else? I probably would have been even more social. Like, sometimes you think you don't have time to do this, you don't want to be too busy. Go join that club. Go to that event on campus, even though people be like, it's lame, it's lame. No, meeting people, engaging with people, it feeds your soul. So, and that's how I work. Like, I love to be by myself. At the same time, I have to have interaction. So, like, putting myself out there in that, even if I had to go by myself, you have to balance that out.
Gotcha. And what some of the I mean, you even know to this day, years and years later, some of our biggest friends are our college friends.
Mhm.
Um, some of our friends, even some of our high school friends. But those college moments is the opportunity to have some lifelong friends. So really encouraging that. And I would say too is you didn't come home a lot. One probably because of being your being an athlete, but encouraging students not to go home all the time. Like I think that's a big thing is um, having them to learn how to be in that environment and to meet people, right? To be able to meet people and be able to build those relationships and be able to make connections so that they can be lifelong connections as well. What what would you say was one of the biggest differences that we made for you in helping you to transition into college and getting through college? What's the biggest thing that you think as parents did for you?
Mhm. I think it would have been like just giving me that freedom. Like, because I'm not down the street, can't get to me in 10 minutes, you had to give me the leeway to say, she has to make her own decision. She has to figure out how to do these things. Because I'm one of those kids, if I needed the help, I would ask. But just knowing, like, you guys trusted me to figure it out. Versus, like, some parents micromanage. None of that was happening. And I didn't need it. Like, again, I always say, know your kid. Maybe a little more should have been here and there, but like it was more that you have been raised with the knowledge, you know what to do. You've been doing it in high school, you did it before then. Go do that in the real world. And if you need the help, ask.
And one of the things that I would always say when you guys left is um, everything has a consequence, good or bad. Don't make a 5 minute decision that's going to cost you the next 50 years of your life. Right? I would say that all the time. And we can only, the whole goal of, and this is why I laugh at a lot of my friends when they get so riled up about missing the fact that their kids are getting older and getting all sad about it. And I'm like, I call it the progression of life, right? So I work very hard to instill values in you when you're in high school, when you're in middle school, as you get to high school, so that those they create foundations for you. But I believe as parents, if we do not allow that to be tested, and we keep holding on to you, because I always say going to college is probably one of the safer places, if we had to say a safer place, to be able to allow kids to mess up. Would you agree that's kind of a safe place to mess up? You don't want to wait till after now they done got through college and now they're 22, 23, 25 years old and they've never been put in position to have to make their own choices. So I just want to encourage as we're thinking about the grown person, we got to think about the younger person and that's who becomes the grown person, right?
Mhm.
So, um, yeah, just always want to tell, we're trying. That's why you work so hard so that you can create kids who can become good adults as well. So, how can parents be supportive without being overbearing or controlling? What's the best way they can do
Hmm.
that?
How to be supportive but not be controlling. Hmm. I don't even know. Maybe not holding like your kids' mistakes over their head. Because to say I didn't make a mistake in those years would be crazy.
That's totally true.
But like again, we just acknowledge it and not move on, but like help them realize the lesson that came out of there. Versus, oh, you did this and you're gonna do this again, blah blah blah. Like I said, the nagging, especially with me not being like down the street, it just pushes your kids away. So like keeping that supportive role and realizing they're becoming that adult. So the relationship you had when they were living at home is different now. Yeah.
So true. Were there times where you felt that you really needed support? Were there anything, moments that you realized that you really needed, and how did you get it when you really needed it?
Hmm. I think my junior year, if I had to put them all side by side, that was probably my worst year just mentally. That was the year I did not try to branch out. I was by myself a lot, stuff like that. But I think the way I coped was coming home. I could always tell people like I was never homesick my freshman year. Then sophomore year I was a little bit, but that junior year, like if I could, I probably would have came home every weekend.
Mm,
I don't know. Did you know that?
mm,
I was like, I hate being here. I want to transfer schools. Like, it just wasn't fun. But I
what
don't know.
what caused that? What do you think caused the change?
I don't know. My volleyball season in the fall sucked. It was just, I wasn't happy playing. It was just a bad environment. And then my best friend moved. So I was like having to deal with that. Because, like, when you have a built-in person that's always with you, it's different. But then you're learning, oh, if I just want to go to the grocery store, I gotta go by myself now. Or I have to figure out somebody who has that much time to just go hang out with me. And that was an adjustment. It was a big adjustment.
Mm,
'Cause I always say, like, I love playing volleyball all my life, but like, it's been a detriment. Because I say, like, it's very hard to make friends because I always had the friends. I was always given a pool of people, go pick the one you want. And having to go out of that bubble and figure out, like, oh, this is the person I want to keep around. I have to put myself out there to make those new connections. That was very difficult. Still working on that one to this day.
you never had to. So almost like the having that team there like that probably worked against you as much as it worked for you.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
in building it. Um, what piece of advice would you wish we had given you?
I had this one. That community college is not a step down. I know, like when we were coming up, like even though it is different now, but you guys were like, why would you go to community college? Like, why would you even like you're too smart for community college? I may be too smart, but the money you'll save in the long run, especially like for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So like maybe just go take those prereq classes. And even if because I know a lot of people will take those in high school, so like you may just need a year. That year might be the time you need to figure out what you want to do or where you want to go. So yeah, that's my biggest one.
How did you decide? How did you decide on your major? Just because of the exposure to that one class? Gotcha.
I don't know, just business in general, just it just sounded appealing. 'Cause I never like you think of like the big professions like a doctor or a teacher. Even though I did want to be a teacher for a little bit, but like I don't know. I just long term that didn't sound fun. And then like my sister was an engineer. I consider that, but physics, bleh, never, never. If I had to take a physics class again, I wouldn't make it out of college. But when it came down to like those things, like I knew what I didn't want to do. So I was like, what's left? And my school was a big nursing school. I said I wasn't doing medical, so that took it out. And like the next best thing would be business school.
It's funny because when your mom tried to introduce you to accounting, you shut her down so fast.
I
Yeah.
shut down that. Did I tell you what I said the first day of class, my freshman year, when I was taking an accounting class? Because like every business major has to take accounting. And I raised my hand and had the nerve to say, the teacher was like, what do you think of accounting? What do you think of? And I said, boring. I raised my hand and I said that out loud. Look at me. I'm eating my words.
Right.
It was a mess. A mess. But like, it's still boring. But like, I like the routine of it. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Not tax accounting, though. When I say I like accounting, I'm never talking about tax accounting.
Right. Me neither.
Miserable.
Yes, don't be a teacher. Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. That
So,
teacher thing, though, if if that pay matched that effort, I think that's the most important job in the world. I just don't think they would want me with the support they get. That's crazy.
so how can parents help their students stay motivated through school?
Hmm. That's a hard one. Unless they're like in your face, you're not seeing them every day. And I know most kids aren't telling their parents when they're struggling in class all the time, when they're failing. But I think the most a parent can do is just asking, just like, how's it going? Is there anything giving you a hard time? And just creating that relationship where it's like their kid can be honest with you in a way. Because I don't know, there hasn't been many classes like in my years that I struggled with. But again, my parents, like we have that relationship where if something was bothering me, I can tell them. But I would also have to have the solution of how I'm going to fix it. Like just knowing us. I can't just say I'm struggling this and not have a answer for it. Because they're going to ask me, so how are you going to improve? Like it's one of those things. But just having that open communication, because they'll tell you what they want to tell you, even if it's months later.
So we're not ones to talk every single day, right? Um, at all. So we may text, but there's a lot of parents who literally physically talk to um their child every single day. Is that something that you would think would have made a difference for your schooling to have that conversation daily?
Not at all. Not for me personally. Because my thing is, what are we going to talk about every day? I ain't gonna have the same class every day. Like, but again, you know your kid. Like my friend Madison, every time I'm looking at her, she's on the phone with her mom. But they have those quick conversations. So maybe that's boosting her morale. Like, ooh, she tells her mom, ooh, I'm struggling with this. I'm about to go study. And then her mom tells her, you got this. Get go do what you need to do. Like that helps her. But like if I did that with my parents, I don't think that would help me. I should just know you're wasting my time. I should be studying.
You make us sound bad. You make us sound bad.
But that's our relationship. Like we talk and we talk for so long. So I don't think it would be the same if we talked every day. Then like me and Dad, we had our weekly call. And again, we don't talk for a long time, but we get down to business. And if
That,
I need something, I'll call him during the week. But I don't ever need nothing.
that's good.
I'm an easy kid.
So for let's talk about having an older sibling.
Mhm.
So having a sibling, sometimes, everybody don't have another child, but it may be, it could be an older sibling, it could be an older cousin, it would be somebody else in your life that can serve. How did Alea support you in school?
She just supported me by just listening. Like I said, I talked to my mom for hours. I talked to Leia every time we talked on the phone. It was 5 hours plus. But just being able to rant to her, because like I always say, she walked so I can run. There's not a situation I've seen in school that she didn't. So just asking her and just using her as a resource, because that's what she is there for.
Mhm.
And knowing it's possible, because like I love that girl, but I feel like we like here. So like if she could do it, I really believe I could figure it out and do it.
Now, I remember when you first got ready to come out and she graduated, you didn't feel that way. You were wondering, as far as her coming out with her major and her engineering, and then wondering, because we used to always laugh and say, because you were actually smarter than Atlanta, book wise and everything.
Don't believe that.
So we were surprised that you were so worried about whether or not you were going to be able to, I don't say match her, but like to be as successful as she was through coming out of school. So you did question that. I remember that because we was confused. We were really confused by that.
But
But
it was different then because like our relationship then isn't what it was now, like what it is now.
of course,
So like I didn't know like she when I let me not put her business out there, but like some of the stuff she went through in school, I just didn't know about. Like I would just see her on the weekends and I'm like, girl, why are you bringing your laundry home again? Like stuff like that. But like now that like I was able to go through those years, I'm like, oh, this is what she was going through. Oh, I get it. When she says a class is hard, she means the class is hard. And like, I don't know, just having done it myself to see like, oh, this is what she was talking about, and this is what she was going through.
sure, definitely, definitely. Um, what practical tips would you give parents to help their students prepare for life after graduation?
Hmm.
So as you
Uh,
are now in this season, what are there anything? Oh, that so the other Amani is Alea. I know you
My
were
bad,
on
Leia. I didn't say nothing. I'm just here. I'm just a girl.
Alea. So what are some of the things that because one of the things I think is very important is to emphasize some experience in your field, internships. And
Mhm.
so what are some of the things that you can think of that is like, oh, I wish I would have known that, or I'm glad I knew that, as you are now, I mean, you're going into graduate school, but you are still having to figure out what just kind of some life things, because as far as you graduated, so what do you think you needed to know for your next steps?
Mm. Looking back, like coming in, I wish I would have known my major just to know like how like internships work. For like my field, they're planning internships a year in advance. So
Mm-hmm.
every year I'm thinking, even like I was going like 6 months, I'm like, ooh, I can figure out something, but it doesn't work like that. So, like, as a parent, I think you can come in and ask those questions. Like, even if I was just a business, I could have still got an internship in the business field, but making sure they know, like, have you been looking into it? Even if, like, you're not trying to get one for this summer, what would you consider in summers to come? Also, what else? Hmm, what do I wish I would have known? I don't know. What else would stick out? Give me some ideas. What would you think?
So as far as just preparing for graduation time, um, just think about that. So when it was time to graduate, let's talk about that for a moment. When it was time to graduate, tell me how you were feeling, um, and then how did you sort through those feelings?
Hmm.
Did you feel
There's two.
anxious? Did you feel, oh, I'm excited, I'm ready for the next? How are you feeling?
Okay, I gotta break. If I'm thinking like that, I have to break it down first semester and second semester. I'll start with second semester because by then I was like, I already had the plans figured out. So I was like, ooh, this is a breeze. Get through my classes, wrap up my internship, and that was the easy part. The fall was more difficult because like I was thinking about what do I want to do after school? What plans? What do I need to start getting in order? Because I'm the type of person I don't like to have something come up like a due date hit me like that. I have notebooks, I have it in my phone calendar. Like I need to know what's coming before. So so in the fall, I was asking those questions like, what do I want to do with this accounting? Because you can have an accounting degree and come right out and be fine. I can go get an entry level position at home and figure it out. But I personally want to maximize my income. I want to do whatever I can to make when I come in higher. So that's why I decided to go the grad school route because eventually I want to sit for the CPA. Pineapple. I've been studying for that CPA. It's not for the weak. I get when y'all talk about that NCLEX, the whatever the LSAT, all those. I'm getting that. I used to think the accounting one wouldn't be like that. It's terrible. But just asking yourself those questions like where do you want to be and what steps can you take when I'm young, when I'm fresh off of school, like to get there? Because like I said, it would be okay if I didn't want to do any more school because I don't need it. I have my degree. But just to maximize where I want to be years down the line.
So one of the questions Camille has in the chat, she asked about explain internships. Is that something the school provide or you find your on your own? So how was it? Because I know one of the what this is what I would say. One of the things that when we were looking at schools, I always talked about the reason why I like bigger schools. And one is because you want a school that bring opportunities to their college, to their senior graduating. Like how many different companies come there? What type of so you have your major, but how is the school working with you, working with their students to make sure their students have opportunities? So a lot of times, Camille, those internships, they are come for career day and different things
Mhm.
like that to the school. So that's how they bring some of those resources to the school. I think another big piece of that is also us as parents networking enough to be able to also help with that scenario if it doesn't always work out with the different schools. But usually, companies come to the school, they go and do be able to interview. So I know that's how Alea worked. Walmart came to the school. So for the internship that you got, Amani, did they? How was the situation there? And oh, back up before you do that. What she was saying, Camille, also is important is starting that process you, literally in your sophomore year, like at the beginning of your sophomore year, because they're interviewing there for usually the whole next year
Mhm.
so that you don't wait till the spring to interview for that summer. They're pretty much at the fall for the next summer, so being ahead of the game and starting in the sophomore summer so that if it doesn't work in the sophomore summer you still get it in your junior summer because you don't want it you're not looking for it after your senior year. You're trying to get the internships prior. And I think Alea had her two before because she was a December grad. So she had I think the summer right before that, the 2 summers before her December graduate. So what was your process, Amani?
So with my school being smaller and not as established, like there was little opportunities here and there, but like for accounting specifically, we had limited pickings and it would just be like it wasn't like a school was coming to scout us out. They would just be giving us information and like if you guys want to apply, here's that. Like I know at Mississippi State, because with the people I interned with, like they had the career fair. So like they're just coming there to get Mississippi State students to fill those positions. But like my school did not have those resources. But luckily enough, I made some impressions on some people, specifically my professor, Miss Christie. I thank her for everything because she got me these opportunities. I did so well in her class, and I was interacting with her class and just making it known like she's going to be something in this accounting field if you just give her those resources, give her that time. But she connected me here with the internship I got because I had very little work experience before I really switched over. So like my biggest worry was like, what is on my resume that would ever transfer over? Like, how do you look at this and see, ooh, this is a girl in business? And I was really stressing about how can I get those opportunities? What do I need to put on there to make my name stick out? Because like before then, I had applied, but like again, how does my resume stick out on paper when I really have nothing on there? So luckily enough, I made that connection with her, and she forwarded my name to somewhere local because I was looking for something I can do while I was in school because my workload wasn't that heavy. So something that would I can get like 30 hours a week to bounce off that I wasn't taking classes. But pretty much me was just putting myself in the right rooms and getting this internship. I wouldn't say it was difficult, but like I had to bug them. I didn't start working until last November, and I've been working ever since. But I think I started communicating with them in January. So like I was emailing, I was getting with the recruiter and coordinator, just saying, "Hey, like this is my updated resume. I love if we can just get a conversation going." and it would just be months later. I hadn't heard anything. I would send another email. And then I got an interview, but I didn't hear anything back for a while, so I sent another email. I just kept bugging them because eventually, if they have the time and space, they'll get you in there, but you have to make sure they know that you want it in a way.
True.
Gotta be a pest.
Yeah, be very interesting. Um, Showing them. So yeah, those internships are very important for a couple of things that Amani just said is if you don't have any work experience and you're coming out of college and you have somebody else who has, I mean, they probably have so many applications. That's a weeding out process right there. Mm-hmm. So even trying, I mean, I was back here in in Olive Branch saying, "Hey, you got anything for the summer?" And it ended up, Monty, we got her in a bank. So at least she was in a financial institution just because I asked. So I always tell parents, you still have a role in it. You still have a role. What type of network are you building in order for you to be able to support your child in getting some connection? So in and I don't care what field they go into, business is always going to be in a business environment, it's always going to be an asset because you have to either customer service, you're interacting with people, but encourage, as much as we just want our kids to go to school, we need them to have something on that resume, some activity on that resume to show, because they're learning other things than just making money. They're learning how to interact with people. They're learning how to manage their schedule. They're learning how to do some, that's what I told them, so you're learning life lessons of having to go to work, go to school, you're traveling for this, and be able to manage all of that. So that becomes also a good thing for them. But it's important to get some type of work experience. And I know this too. There's some fields, I know a lot about business, but I know that there's some, I had different friends in the medical field where they would go shadow people. Mm-hmm. So they may not have an intern, but they're able to go into some medical environments and shadow either a doctor or a nurse or in a family clinic or something like that. So it's getting the student exposure. And I would say starting right after they finish that freshman year, try to get some exposure. And then if they don't know what type of degree they want, get them exposed to different fields and have them, over the summer, 1 week go with this person and see something that maybe trigger something to see if you can figure out what type of field they want to get into as well. So that internship, that business exposure is very important as well. But yeah, so you can to answer your question, Camille, the schools, depending on the schools, the size of the school, the resources of the school, they may have a good career development, but encourage your student to go and have a relationship with the advisor when you say that's important, Amani, so that they know your name, and then see what type of career assessment placement place they have on campus as well. So
And also just Google internships in whatever field, and I've applied at so many, but it'll give you a list and just make sure they tailor their resume to whatever they're applying for. That's probably the biggest thing. But again,
definitely.
you don't I did it without having all those connections, so it's still possible.
This is sometimes parents have separation anxiety. How did you ensure your parents to trust that you had it, that you would be okay going away from school, and that what they instilled in you would yield good results?
But
How did you ensure us?
how did I ensure y'all? I came back home when I said I was gonna come back home. Like, I don't know. I keep saying you have to know your kid. If I was a worrisome child, y'all would be worried more. But if I said I was going to turn up home, I came home. At the end of the year, I made it back. Like, I just think it's as easy as that. And you should be building and strengthening that relationship while they're young so you don't have to stress as much. And my biggest thing, probably for y'all, when y'all called me, I answered. And if I didn't answer, I texted y'all, like, give me a second. I'm walking class. Like, I'll have a free second. Like, if I was avoiding you guys' calls and stuff, I feel like it would be more of an issue because you would pop up on me. You would pop up on me. So it's just that open communication.
And I think I would say as a parent, I think a big piece of it is I left them when they were younger. Like, so they were used to me leaving. I was used to them leaving me. because I think it's both ways. So with me in my Mary Kay business, I would have to leave and go out of town, and so I think um, that we just they weren't always under me. They weren't always. Um, I wasn't the only one that could keep them. You know, my husband, I would leave and he would be with them. Like I think both of those makes a difference in how you're living life with before it's time for y'all to, separate from each other. So I think that was a big piece of it. And then so they got used to. We should probably phrase that differently. Let's try to laugh. Let's try. Come off mute.
She
What part?
left us all the time. Our
Oh,
hair wouldn't be done, would
You
never be
can't be talking about
fed,
you left us as children.
leaving us with crazy people, y'all. My sister, look at her forehead. Ooh,
it was not. That was your auntie. She failed.
because who you left us with?
Her
I love
auntie.
you. I love
Nobody told her to get on that stool. She shouldn't have been on that stool.
Hi,
Hopefully, you're
Auntie
listening to
Leslie.
you because I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never been to college or worked in higher education for over a decade. But yeah, but I do believe it started with um, them understanding that they will survive when I'm gone, and then me being able to trust. I guess as for me as a parent, I came to the conclusion that um, I can do the best that I can, right? I can do the best that I can. I was never going to leave them with somebody that I didn't trust will do the best that they could. And when they left, I believed I was willing to let them fall for me to catch them, right? I was willing to let them fall because I believed I had put enough in them where they should have had a strong foundation. Now, if they made a bad choice, I made bad choices when I was in college. Lord had grace and mercy on me. I mean, I know I made bad choices. So I knew they were going to go to school and make bad choices. Because we don't always get caught. Raise your hand, put it in the chat. Raise your hand if you made some bad choices in college and you know the Lord saw you through it, right? So, amen. We raise your hand. Come on. I know all of y'all have made some bad. Yes, Camille. Yes. So I knew that was possible, but I also believe my God was going to take care of it. Like I couldn't do better than he could. So I had to trust that. So that was my, you always got caught, Tiffany.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You didn't do well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Always got caught. Always. I have get caught
That's,
energy. You have to accept that about yourself when you recognize it. Just
you said
accept.
what energy? What she said?
I have get caught energy. That's for whatever reason, that's what I have. And so I just comply. I've learned too many times.
Mm. That is, but what about self? It's hard to watch your children make mistakes and you know they could avoid. Yes, yes, but we need to. So I say it's the concept of keep touching that hot stove. You're gonna keep touching that hot stove. You're gonna get yourself burnt. You're gonna get yourself burnt. So I think it has to be. If we never let them burn themselves, they don't know it's hot. So it's a balance between how many times you let them fall. But I do think if they want to act that way, we got to let them fall, and then okay, let's talk about this, how we can get you. But I think you have to trust. I just think you have to have a level of trust, and then it's almost like working your way back. That's let me tell you, that's how I live. That's how because I said this one statement: everything you do has a consequence, good or bad. Don't make a 5-minute choice that's going to cost you the next 50 years of your life. I mean, that was my anthem. Everything you do has consequences, good or bad. Like
if we had $1 every time you said that to me, either me or Leia, we'd be millionaires.
Exactly. Because that's all I could do when they left me, right? That's all I could do. right? So to remind them, if nothing else, the last thing you're gonna hear from me is this. You're gonna have, because you got to make the choices.
Mm-hmm.
They have consequences, good or bad. So, and hopefully that stuck with them enough to, before they make a choice, that they remember there's some consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely hard, and you have to pray your way through. I remember the first time at the Atlanta school they had uh um they thought they had a shooter, and I remember that very first time that happened, and for a moment I was like panicking, but then I was like, Lord, there's nothing I can do. Like, just protect my child. Just protect my child. Like, because at that point, I'm 2.5 hours away. There's nothing that I could physically do but pray. So I think those are times that you really challenge to say, okay, how much do you really believe? How much I have to stand on my faith when there's nothing I physically can do at the moment. Let's see, was there any other? Sinitra, I know you raised your hand. I know you did. Talking about these calls to be monitored for training purposes. Does anybody have any questions? A question for myself or for Amonie? So I think that was all mine.
Marta, I do have a question. So yes, I'm that helicopter parent. Yes, I'm that I don't want my kids to ever leave. So do you think it hinders, well, it can definitely affect the kid's decision to go off further away to school or move out if they think it's gonna affect their relationship with their parents. Let's say if your mom was that person, do you think it would have altered your decision to go far off or stay closer and go to like community college?
Yes, I do think it would have. I think the reason I had my mentality of I wanted to go so far is because they preach that. Like, you can go, but you always have a home to come back to. And I think my maturing is realizing it's okay to go away, but it's at the same time okay to come back.
Mhm.
Like, I used to talk so dirty about people, like, why can't you tough it out? Like, we're 2 hours away, we're 30 minutes away. Like, why can't you deal with that? That's not everybody's story. So I think just making it comfortable where if your kid tells you it's too much for them, believe them at face value. Like, you could say maybe what's like ask them those questions like what is making you struggle? Is it a school thing? Is it an area thing? Is it the people? But ask those questions, and if their answer is I just can't be here, mom, dad, take it and just figure out what's plan B. What are we gonna do once you come back home? But like, there is nothing wrong with being a helicopter parent. But like, it shows you cared. I think more of that could be like is needed because college is hard, and if you have that support system, you're more comfortable. And that's just what it's all about.
Good.
Hey, I had a question. Um, because my son, and I feel bad, but my son, he'll be a senior, and so I'm trying to remember because I went to college, but it's been over 20 years. But I do not remember like touring. So I wanted to ask that is that something you just can do, or you need to get like what is the process of that? Is it a cost for touring, or do you apply for that when you said the applying? I just cannot remember and trying to help my son to get that process going. So a little bit more technically about the touring. And even when you said the internship, um, is the internship is that just a job, or was that like still a part of your course in your college experience, if that makes sense? Because and that's I'm laughing because I'm a teacher, and so my intern was like the school did
Mhm.
that, and that's why I was telling you not to be a teacher. But you intern with the class. You it was just a class, they provided that. So I guess of course my son, I know he's not going to teaching, so into another area. What is the intern? Is that you're part of your class? What is that? That's what I was like, I didn't understand.
Do you want to take the first one? And I'll take the second one.
Yes, with the touring.
Yeah.
So what we did was in the LA 5 missed something, let me know. So what we did was figured out what schools that she wanted to go to. And a lot of times the schools have a actual time frame where you can come and tour. If you can't make it to, like, it's like an orientation or open house that they'll have. If you cannot make it to them, you can just contact the school and say, hey, we would love to come visit. What's a good time for you to be able to do it? Because we were able to go into a general area and hit a bunch of different schools.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just contacting those schools, Camille, that and all the schools we went to is not necessarily that she had a desire to want to go to all of them. What we did was we looked at in this general area. So we visited schools in Missouri. We went, I don't know if we looked at anything in Arkansas, but we did several in Mississippi. For me, so I had a thought about the schools, right? But I was like, okay, she has to decide. Because my whole thing was, we'd definitely had to go to a HBCU, definitely had to go to a PWI. We didn't have any specifics. I was looking at the resources though. I was 100% what type of resource they have. I needed I can't look like I'm going back to high school. Like some of them HBCU, I'm telling y'all, but that was just me. So we went to you weren't in Arkansas. I was sure. But so we went and visited some. So it's just a matter of calling, getting the map, looking at schools, and then just seeing what you can map out together. And then they'll usually welcome you to come in. If it's a schedule, a college, a scheduled tour where multiple people come in at the same time, they'll let you know that schedule as well. So that's the thing about it. So you address the intern.
So I know some
Bonnie,
schools require the.
can I add to it?
Yes.
The method that we did was like we picked, like you said, the different areas. So like the states, and then within those states, found schools that had a major that I thought I wanted to do.
Oh, it's a good point.
So that didn't necessarily apply by the end because I switched what I ended up wanting to do. But at least when you're going there, you could pick a school that you can pick them based on whether or not they have like a good program in that major.
And to add on to that too, like even if you don't know your major, you know what you want your college experience to be. If you were a person who's like, oh, if so many people are in my class, I don't want big classes, you would go to the smaller school. Or I want that big SEC experience, I want to go to football games. Like you can narrow it down that way as well. But okay, for the internships, so my school does it where it's not required to graduate. But I know Mississippi State, a lot of the bigger schools, it's you have a course that's in it, but it's not like you have a built-in, you just go to this class and it covers your internship. You still have to find that internship, but it covers those credits. So you'll get credits for it while you're working. So it's more like a job. So like mine, I know in the accounting field, it's normal to get paid to have your internship. And like with us having tax season, you get a boost if you're working during tax season as well. But like it's just having a job to get you that experience, but like it gives you room to make those errors. You're just there to learn and soak up information because they understand that you haven't had these opportunities. You've just seen it in a classroom, but like this is how you apply what you've been learning.
So it wasn't required for your school. Is that
For
what
my
I'm
school personally, it wasn't. But
okay?
a lot of schools,
Yes.
for certain programs, they are required. Like I don't, Alea was engineering required to have a internship.
No, it was just strongly encouraged. But I know
Exactly.
like Chris did sports business and they needed an internship to graduate officially. So I think it's just a program to program thing.
Mhm. So once you've kind of narrowed it down, you'll see it on your prereqs or your courses that you need to take. It'll be in there like HO 401, like it'll be a class setting if it's required. But even if it's not required, like I said, I strongly agree that you should try to get that experience beforehand. Because what if I did this internship and I hated the field? I was like, ooh, I don't want to do this forever. Like, I need to figure out something else. But it gives you that opportunity to pivot if you need to.
That too.
Okay, and one more, I guess about the applying. When did you all, I guess, and apply? And I heard you say you would suggest more apply than more than one, but when did y'all do that, I guess? the
I think
process.
most applications open up like for like early is like the summer before your senior year. Even though you don't like you can if you know, but like by December you should have started like heavily applying. Because like you said, you want an advantage if you need housing or classes. Like for mine, so I bet you I applied, and this was a little later, probably September. I knew I was accepted, but like I applied for my college classes while I was still in high school. Like I think because I was in honors, we got the first pick. So I was picking classes in February of my senior high school. So the sooner the better. But a lot of those, like I said, open up before the summer or like the summer before senior year, and they don't stay open that whole time either. So like even if you did apply in like the winter or spring of that senior year, you may have to defer to start in January. Hmm.
And the because even is a fast web like at the beginning by March as well.
I really don't understand that. I'm gonna be
So
honest, I did for you. I don't understand FAFSA. I don't know.
so you have to so that happens early spring usually. So that's another reason why you want to start looking into and if you don't know yet, Camille, that's one thing. You're just trying to be more February 15th. You want to be more ahead of the game versus waiting and then trying to figure it out. Because then what happens also if you wait to apply and then it comes around for housing, you may end up not having housing for the school because the housing has filled up. So if you wait until the spring to start trying to apply. So I would say looking now. Yeah, because
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yes, I'm like I'm behind, so definitely July I'm gonna get on it with my son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he have any idea what school he wants to go to?
Hmm.
He doesn't. And he says he want to do something with computer, but he really doesn't. Uh, it's so broad, and I'm like, what in computer science you want to do? So, um, that's all I have from him right now. Like something in computer. So, we're gonna look, at some schools. Um, my main thing I've been saying I wanted him to stay in the state of Tennessee, and that's really for money because
Hmm.
purposes we live in Tennessee. But yeah,
Yeah.
we had a few schools that he's mentioned, um, but we're on it. I'm gonna be on it with him. So
So
this
I
is
would
very informative. Thank y'all so much.
You're welcome. And what I would say, because this reminds me of when Alea chose engineering. So you know how you said computer is a very broad topic. I think I even went on Facebook. Who's an engineer? Like what are, because I didn't know anything about it. It's like, what are all the different types of engineers? Like start asking people around you that you know may be in computers to see what they're doing so he can have conversation with those people or they can help guide you in what particular areas in computer. I just was having a conversation with a young lady that goes to Brown, and she has her undergrad in computer science, and she has her master's in computer science. He may be a good person for her to talk to. So now this is where mommy mode. Now this is where I do get very active. Is once I hear it, I'm like, who do I know, or how can I find out the people around me that can probably be, supportive to help find out more information because now I probably know people in the fields where they would know the people. So that's where you can definitely be resourceful to your children. This is why I want to go.
You see all the stuff she's adding to it. I said she should have been right there. She'd been uno dos tres on this call.
That's okay. Any other questions? And thank you. I'm glad it was helpful, Camille. Some bordering states have. Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Some bordering states have agreements to charge in-state tuition with neighboring schools. So check into that. It may be some schools in Arkansas or Mississippi that he could go to.
Because
Um,
yeah, I know like for us, like at home in Olive Branch, you can get that Memphis, but like even my school, they waive out of state tuition. So like look at those options as well. if you're considering leaving the state.
Yeah.
Leslie had a good question about, I think advice that may have inspired. What is the best advice you ever received that motivated you? I think that's targeted toward the girls.
Hmm. Ooh. I want to say something so wise. I don't even know. Oh.
Can you repeat the
Um,
question?
What is the best advice you ever received that motivated you?
Um, ooh,
So my reason for asking that question is because kind of fast forwarding to young adulting. So you've been through college and you're on the other side. And now it's time to step off into adulthood. But young adults know everything, right? Because they're now, of age, they have gotten through some things, and so now they know everything. And so what motivates you? What has been your biggest motivation to keep going? Because now it's another level, it's a different step. You're moving forward. And Alea, I guess this is maybe even more for you because you have done it. You have kind of gone through all the steps, college and then working and now married. So you have actually gone through all the steps, the adulting steps. So I guess for you too, Alea, what has been your biggest source of motivation to keep moving forward? Why are you laughing?
She gotta
Amani?
turn on her mic.
I couldn't get off
She
mute quick
entered the
enough.
chat, y'all. Give her an introduction, Mom.
She gotta say that for like a month.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't let her
Um,
skip you because she tried to skip me, Leia.
that's hilarious. You can skip me, but I remember a quote that somebody told me when I was younger. Like I always the concept of it I live by. I can't really tell you the exact quote right now, but it's basically like um, the quality of life or the level that you get out of things is based on the effort that you put in. And so, you can't skip over things or not do it and expect to get the same results out of it, essentially, is what I got out of it. And I always make the joke, I grew up with a certain lifestyle, so I knew as far as like the major I picked, whether or not I finished it, the job I got was gonna feed all into that, of being able to continue to get what I was used to. So I would say that's what kind of keeps me going, at least into this point.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Because she knew her parents wasn't going to keep giving her that lifestyle. Yeah, figure some things out.
Another one I tell Monty, I always joke because I see this one on TikTok where it's like the older you get, the more you realize your mom was right. You just didn't like the tone of voice she said it in.
Right.
That's the one. She ain't been wrong a lot, y'all.
That's fun.
But,
I ain't never heard him
for
say that.
me,
That's
even
fun.
though I haven't gone to that where I have an established career, I know that I want to be successful. So like that keeps me going. Like some days, like right now with my working is not fun. Getting up every morning to go somewhere and sit and like have to focus is not fun. But I know once I get past this and grow in my career on the other side, I'm like, whew, that light work I did, that was nothing. Look at where you are now.
Ale, I got one follow-up question for you because I love what you said about your mother always being right because that's true, right? But here's the thing: was it better if she said, "See, I told you," or did you come to that realization more when she just didn't say it? It's like so obvious.
You already
So
know the answer. You already know the answer. But okay.
no, I no, Alea, I want your honest answer.
It's a
So
combination of both. Sometimes the "I told you so" comes prematurely.
oh,
There's been stuff that like years later, like in my big age of today, like stuff that she told me before, it was like, oh, that's what she meant by that. So of course, she already felt the "I told you so" probably whenever she told me about it, but it's a combination of both.
I got it. So it wasn't gonna sink in until it was gonna sink in anyway. So her saying it didn't make it sink in sooner.
Because then there might be some resistance there if you weren't ready to hear it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. And like I know y'all hate that as a parent, like you want to try to protect them, but like some of these lessons are learned for me and me alone. The input, like again, I can look back in years, like, oh, I get it, but in that moment you don't. So you just have to go through the trenches, I guess.
Let them fall.
Are
Not
there
even
any
fall,
people
we can
on the
slip.
call who are parents of young adult or adult children?
Yes, ma'am.
Because when I hear all the let them fall, let them fall, let them fall, it's got to be somebody on the call who just is averse to watching people fall.
I am.
And
I am.
so what is the plan B alternative? Obviously, everybody has to make some mistakes. But I just tell you, I think it's a black thing that we got to make the same mistakes. We got to hit our head against the same wall. I am not satisfied that all the mistakes got to be made by every generation. Of course, there are some, but I'm just not satisfied that I can't prohibit, or stop some of these mistakes, these generational. You know how people talk about generational curses? It can stop. Everybody don't got to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And that's where I'm at. It's like, I get it. Some mistakes have to be made, but some don't have to be made. Um, and that's what I want to hear. The people who say, yep, I did this, this, and this because I refuse to let my kid make this same mistake that I made, or the same mistake my mother made, or the same mistake my brothers and sisters made. That's really kind of, and I know that's not 100%, but come on, there's got to be some ways around some of these life mistakes.
So
I
I would
think
say,
one of the
Leslie,
biggest,
with
I'm sorry.
just real quick, I would say I can definitely, even with the mentality of I've given you this, and I have given you the tools, the equipment, and if you don't take that and you fall, even with that, I think the fear of falling, that's why they don't do it, because they know I have taken like, here it is. That's all I got for you. Their fear of falling is why I think they have been so successful, because I have painted a picture of this is not what you want over here. You don't want this over here. So I have painted that picture. I could be wrong. I was like, no, we would have conversations. This ain't what you want to do. I'm telling you, this ain't what you want to do. So in that process of, so I haven't had to deal with falling because I think I painted the picture that this ain't what you want over here.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I think one of the biggest misconceptions, not just, well, mostly Black people, and I've lost a very good friend because of this. When our kids turn 18, they got to go. They got to get out the house. And just here in the last few years, we're become more conscious of emotional intelligence. And I think Amani talked about knowing your child, knowing if they're capable emotionally to support themselves away from home. Um, so I don't believe just because you turn 18, you got to go. Our grandparents didn't understand that. So therefore, my mom is you can go to school, you go to the military, one or the other. Some kids just don't have that. What's the word I'm looking for? So we don't want to coddle or baby them, but don't give them an ultimatum. Either you do this or you get put out. So if they don't make the right decision that we think they should make, we put them out, they end up on the streets, they make the wrong decision, mess up their credit, mess up whatever. Now they're back at home instead of us trying to navigate and figure it out and help them along the way to make those better decisions. But that's been one of my biggest things when I hear people, oh, they 18, you need to put them out. How old is your son? No, I don't think that's the best solution. What are your thoughts on that?
Are you asking me or asking?
Oh, I know what your thoughts are. I
No,
was
no, no.
asking.
I don't. No, I
I
don't
was
believe
asking.
in just because a person is 18 that you should be put out. I do believe I'm going to do my best to equip you at 18 to be able to leave my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where some of the imbalance becomes, is that we haven't did all we can to start letting go early enough So at the 18, 21, whatever, that they're equipped. So I worked hard in the pre-years to make that. That's how I look at it. So when but I don't agree that just because you're 18, but I do have worked very hard to be the person who can leave my house.
I think a lot of Black parents, especially with boys, with sons, I hear that a lot and it kind of agitates me. It's like, so where, if I put him out, where's he going to go? You know, what education, what life skills does he have? Like, just because they turn 18 does not make them a man or woman. Yeah.
I'm always interested in what people have to say as relates to the differences between raising boys and girls, because I very much so think there are stark differences. And since this is my first go round, I just have two, a boy and a girl. I do think I see it daily that there are many differences between the two, and I think we're not honest enough sometimes about kind of what that looks like and things you might do for a boy or for a girl you may not do for a boy, and vice versa. And knowing your child is, I think, important, but I do think there are real differences in how they grow and how they develop and how they think and how the world treats them and all those things that come into play. And so I appreciate what you're saying about how it's just not one size fits all. Put them out, then you still gotta help them in some different ways. But I do think there's differences between boys and girls. At least that's what I'm finding. Real differences.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
So, I just want to say, first of all, Denise, I think you have raised amazing young women. You know, you always say I like them better than I like you.
You do.
True. But they are just so amazing. I think daughter is actually on here too. And I think one of the things that we even forget about as parents, I like the way you said when they're younger, what you pour into them. We have to start when they're young, and we have to build their self-esteem so much that they know that if they do fall, they could come back home. And I think it was Amani that said, you don't sit in it, you acknowledge it, you find out what went wrong, how it went wrong, and how could that behavior be corrected. Sometimes, whether you're a hands-off parent, whether you're a helicopter parent, we always forget. This is one of the things I always used to tell people. And this is a story I used to say. When my daughter was young, I used to tell her there were only two people in the world that I can control, and that's me and you. I used to always tell her that. Then I would turn to my friends and I'd say, I wonder when she gonna figure out I really can't control her either. You know,
That's cute.
because we all have our own free will and we all make choices and our children make choices. And the choices that our children make, we should always let them have a.
What happened? Pam, did you mute yourself?
My mother did not tell us we had to get out at 18. She said you had to either go to school or go to work. That was the choice we had. She never said we had to leave. Um, so it just depends on what do you want for your child, because you want them to be productive citizens. And if we're always coming to their rescue, and the thing about us as a lot of parents, we come to their rescue so much that when we get fed up, then we don't want to have nothing else to do with them. we gotta start young so they can learn those lessons.
Mhm. Anybody else? Well, Mary put in the chat, everybody has a different journey. I think mistakes bring a level of wisdom and strength that some would not get otherwise. However, it's definitely not easy to watch children make mistakes. Of course. Of course. None of us want our kids to fall. None of us want our kids to fall. I do believe all of us want our kids to be strong enough to be able to carry themselves, though.
Yes.
Now, I do believe we all want that and going back to thinking about how kids are different. You have to be willing to understand that all of them, I can't do this one the same way I can do this one. Like, still acknowledge, think whether they're a girl or a boy, or two girls or two boys, still being in tune enough with, like, knowing your child, as Monty's been saying. I think we still got to know that too, even in whether they're the same sex or different sexes. But I think we all want the best for our children. And I call it the progression of life. I'm sure if y'all, my friend, y'all have heard me say it, the progression of life. We work really hard. I think we invest in our kids, do all the things, one, so they be a better version in the next generation. I think everybody on here, I know we all feel that way. But I call it progression of life. Like when Leia went to school, it was never my thought that she was going to come back home. Now, could she come back home? Yes, but it was never my thought that she was going to come back home, because the progression of life said she goes to school, she finishes school, she gets a job, and she goes somewhere. To me, in my mind, that's just the progression of life. So that's how I set her up, and doing the internship, doing all that kind of stuff, because I just thought that's how you set them up to be the progression of life. Now, if it falls, at least I can say I set it up. Like that's all I have control over, of how I invest and give back to them. So we know that, if they have to just fall, whatever, of course we're going to be there as their parents. But I think at some point, I think the best time, to me, in my opinion, the best time to let that happen is in a more controlled environment, which I believe is college. That's a more controlled environment, versus I don't want to wait out there trying to figure it out now that they are 22, trying to figure out in the world, and they now live in a whole nother state and now have all these bills and stuff like that. So that's just my thought process of that progression of life thing that we have.
Do you feel like you raised us differently?
I think the biggest difference for me raising you is where I was in my head, as far as when Alea was born, I was the initial raising her. I was around all family, right? Everybody was there. We moved across the country. My mom just died. So my mental state, even for years after leaving Chicago, of trying to figure it out, was different in the raising process. So of course, there's some just different factors going on in the season of your life. Why are you laughing?
As your other daughter.
I'm like, why are y'all cracking up?
Because when you said that you were in different spaces in your head, I texted Amonie, it's Uno all over again.
You gotta know, y'all.
Okay, so the joke about Uno, you guys. So when we left Chicago, Amonie was just born. Alea was 4 or 5. Prior, so when Alea, from her first baby all the way to 5 years old, family, we was in Chicago. I never had her. I got it. Friday nights, if we wanted to do something, I'd go hang out with Leslie and do whatever. All the things I wanted to do. Get to Maryland, nobody around. I can just remember sitting on the bed, we playing Uno on a Friday night, and all I could say to myself was, is this what my life has come to? Like Friday night with some Uno. So that was a traumatic time of my life that y'all laughing. So that's why they laughing, you guys.
You're the one that went so far back. When I asked, like, if you raised this differently, I'm thinking, like, leading up to college, though. Like, let's get to current time.
Yeah, so I went far back. So, yeah. So later on, probably not. I think our high schools were similar, but early on.
Were.
Yes, they were.
You didn't feel like you had to push one of us more?
No. Headspace matters. Yes, it does. If I had a new baby now, that the child would be cooking his own dinner.
Do you, because you were talking about the whole progression of life and letting people go. Do you remember what you said when I told you I was looking at doing the Walmart internship in Georgia?
Yes, the very first time you told me you was going to Florida. No, it was Florida. Wasn't it Florida? No, you did Georgia first. No, you did Florida first.
I did Georgia and then Florida.
So Georgia was okay. One of them, I thought it was the further one. Of first, my initial reaction was, "Oh my gosh, that's so far away." And then, but I came back and was like, "Wait a minute, hold up. She can go. It's why am I tripping?" But it was because Georgia, I knew I had people in Georgia. I had nobody down in Florida, but I had to make a decision because some parents would not have let their child go for a whole summer by themselves that far away. But I had to, was like, that's not who I am. That's not how I raised her. So agreed to let her go ahead. I had to just shake it off. I was like, she's good. She's good in Florida.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm not coming for you or any moms when I say this, but like you
Am I?
said, I had to let her go. When does it stop being like, not that you were gonna say no, you can't go, but like, when does that stop?
No, I was saying let her go for me personally, not that you couldn't go,
But
but
even
sometimes we
just
had to
personally.
realize we got to let it go. That's what I would mean by my let it go.
My mother was parenting me till she died.
Right.
And I plan
And
to
so was
parent
my
mine
and
till
so
I
was my
die.
father. And so was my father. Yes.
Right.
Yes. It just changed. It evolved over time.
When you birth somebody, it's forever. That's it.
But to what
So
extent, Leslie, though, forever? Like to
forever.
what do you feel that you're gonna still be doing in the next 10 years?
My parents still parent me too.
But
To
there's
to
different, like Tiffany said,
today.
different levels to that. So how involved do you think you would be?
I guess it just depends on the parent. I mean, you know, I'm an only child and an only grandchild. So, I my mother and father are extremely involved daily. I still talk to my mother every day. And she still gives unsolicited advice every day. It doesn't mean I take it, but but she certainly gives it.
Right.
Um and so right. And so I just think it just depends on the kind of parent you have been all along. I mean, that's just the way it has been set up. And so that's kind of the way I have set mine up too. Parenting to me doesn't mean that you're telling somebody what to do. Sometimes it's listening. Sometimes it's giving unsolicited advice. Sometimes it's withholding your advice or opinion and watching. Sometimes I guess it's letting fall. Sometimes it's making sure you don't fall. I mean, so you just never
Oh yeah,
stop
that's
that
forever.
if
Yeah.
that's how you choose to parent. Yeah, there are some people who I'm sure decide, I'm done. See ya. You can. I talk to you when I talk to you, and I don't if I don't want to. I mean, but that's not the kind of parenting I do or have had, and so that's just my view of parenting is that it's forever. But I'm sure there are people who are like, when I'm done, I'm done.
Was it Amani? Was that who asked the question? I can't remember because I'm
Yeah.
also middle aged and I've
Yeah.
forgotten just that quick. Okay, so I think as a young person, as a young woman, um, I understand why you're asking that question. Um, but I think the reality is that you are learning lessons from your parents and other people who are senior to you for the rest of your life. Sometimes they are trying to teach you a lesson, and sometimes you are learning through observation. So if I think about, so my parents, even when they were not actively parenting, because I'm in my 50s now, um, they were examples of different things, of different stages of life. You're watching them go through their stages of life too, right? As life progresses on. But when I think about my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she was not a traditional grandmother, but she was teaching me lessons at the end of her life that she could only teach me at that time. And so it just all it evolves. It's all a cycle, and if you are willing, there's still much to learn as you move through it.
So as you guys said, parenting, I guess I was thinking, because my dad still parents me. My grandmother at 95 still parenting me. So by y'all definition, when I was thinking of parenting, I think I was thinking in totally different. But that's just, to me, parenting is always being active in your life as your parent, from what you guys just described. So of course, yeah. And I hope they would still welcome that interaction. Like I still welcome what my grandmother still says, and welcome what my dad still says. My aunts, it's just like you said, just the people who are more experienced and wiser to be able to share. Because you never want to act like you know everything, because you don't. You only know things to the level of experiences you've had. So somebody else has some different experiences that they can share with you to help you grow. What way was you thinking? I guess I was thinking parenting as like actively being involved in making decisions in the person's life. That's when I was thinking of parenting. Some of their decisions that they would have to make themselves for their children, some that they were like, I can give my opinion, but giving my opinion is sharing information I didn't necessarily see as parenting as it is now. So yeah. Right. It's not always your own parents too. I still remember things. Yeah. I still remember your grandmama. Bless you.
Do not start talking about my grandmama on this call. Oh, that'll be another day. Right. But
I was just thinking about her and them going to
was.
Paris, the generations. I was just thinking about that the other day, about your grandmama and what she did, Leslie. So we've been thinking about your grandmama.
Right. So, ooh,
Yes.
Lord.
So, anything else anybody want to share? I think this is a good conversation. Hopefully you guys benefited for the conversation. Good conversation. So Alea comes back on the 29th to talk about 29th of July to talk about that transition from college and being active in her career. So by that time, you've been 4 years, 5 years, 19.
I'm 5 out now. What's my topic? What'd you call it?
College to career, just that transition of becoming a career.
Monia laughing a little hard, like she don't know the full situation.
No, y'all, we're just spectators. She chose us when to show up, and we show up, and then we just go with the flow. Like we act like we know what we're doing, but
This
we
her
just
world, and we living in it.
Attention, Rock Shoppers. The time is now 9:45. Our store is closing in 15 minutes. We will be.
Oh, the latest store closing.
I gotta go.
Parents just want to still be relevant in their lives in some way, but I definitely appreciate not always having to parent per se. We want our children to live life and know that we are here if needed. Yes, I like that. Amonie is 22 and Alea is 28.
Are you sure?
I believe that to be correct.
I'm just playing with you. You was right.
I got a little nervous because I went back to 22828. That's how
for my birthday party.
Yeah, that's how I knew I was right with you. So yeah, awesome. If she's not, I know. Awesome. So yes, this was good. So I pray that you guys check out some of our ones next month. We have some good ones. If you have topics, I'm still looking for my menopause lady, so I got to get on that. But if there's any topics that you guys would love for us to talk about on Let's Talk About It Tuesday, please let me know. As I meet different women and think it's something that can add value, I'm inviting them to come share with us. But the one that's with Dr. Amelia, she is that's talking about when love hurts. Her story is her